About my father's accent. He knows it's there. He knows it's thick, thicker even than my mother's. He's been on American soil for nearly 30 years, but his voice sounds like Port-au-Prince, the crowded streets, the blaring horns, the smell of grilled meat and roasting corn, the heat thick and still. In his voice, we hear him climbing coconut trees, gripping the trunk with his bare feet and sandy legs, cutting coconuts down with a dull machete. We hear him dancing to compas, the palm of one hand resting against his belly, the other raised high in the air as he rocks his hips from side to side. We hear him telling us about Toussaint Louverture and Henri Christophe and the pride of being first free black. We hear the taste of bitterness when he watches the news from home or calls those left behind. When we, my brothers and I, mimic him, he smiles indulgently. Before every vowel an H, at the end of every plural, no S. You make fun, but you understand me perfectly, don't you, he says. We nod. We ask him to say American Airlines. We gasp for air when he gives in. For many years, we didn't realize our parents had accents, that their voices sound different to unkind American ears. All we heard was home. Then the world intruded. It always does. My name is Roxane Gay. I'm originally from Omaha, Nebraska, and I'm here for the Mission Creek Festival, where I'm a writer in residence. Oh yeah, I always get asked, how do I do it all? Because I write a lot and I edit quite a lot as well, and so that's a popular question. I don't sleep very much and I live in the middle of nowhere. It's really not complicated. I wish I had a more glamorous answer, but it's just the truth. I'm an insomniac. I can write pretty much anywhere. The best place for me to do that is generally on my couch while I'm watching a Law and Order SVU marathon. That's my motivation. The worst place, I really struggle to write when I'm visiting my parents because they see the laptop open and they have no idea what's going on and they're asking questions and talking to me, and it's fine because I love them and I want to talk to them, but I get nothing done when I visit them. It all flows together. I wish I was disciplined enough to have a schedule to say, okay, I'm going to write from 1 to 3. I'm going to read submissions from 3:30 to 5:30. But now it's just, well, okay, I'm tired of doing this. Okay, I'll look at some submissions. Oh, let me work on this essay that's in progress. And so for me, it's just this infinite loop of reading and writing. Absolutely. At least as an editor, I've learned sort of how not to be a writer. I've learned about bad habits that writers tend to have, not even in terms of their writing, but in terms of how they interact with editors and how they come across in cover letters or in editorial correspondence. And so for me, it's helped me develop an etiquette for how I want to move through the writing world. And it's also helped me to sort of understand where I am in relation to a lot of the other writers in the world. Um, and it's given me sort of things to aspire to. They're just different beasts. Short stories come, I think about them quite a lot in my head and find myself immersing in a character that I've been imagining, and then all of a sudden I'll sit at the computer and the story will come out because I've been thinking about it for so long. Essays, I'm often moved by something that's happened in current events, and that will instigate an essay. So that seems to be a little more spontaneous, and it's a different kind of easy because I get so heated or so moved by something that I have to respond. And novel writing is challenging, but it was a fun challenge. I didn't think I could do it, and then I did. Yes and no. I try to mix it up every semester. I have some standbys that I come back to over and over again. One story I teach every semester in my introduction to fiction class is a short story by Matt Bell called An Index of How Our Family Was Killed, to introduce students to alternative forms of storytelling and alternative narratives. And they always have a really interesting reaction to that story. And many students end up loving it. And I love sort of seeing them see a story in a form that they've never even considered before. And so I do that. I try to keep it very contemporary in my classroom because I know they're getting a lot of the canon and the literary breadth they need in their literature courses. So I can focus on contemporary fiction. And so I do that mostly. I think that the electronic book or the ebook is a great innovation. And I think it's simply a new way to do something we've done for millennia. And I don't think it's a danger to us. I think it's just an evolution, and I love it. And I'm really excited about it. And I also think that the print artifact is here to stay. And we cannot destroy it. And I think it's arrogance that allows us to believe that somehow we would be the generation that would make the book obscure or obsolete when it's been around since cuneiform. Really? No, we're not that grand. So, no, I am very optimistic, and I feel like as writers we have to be optimistic because if we're not, then what the hell are we doing? How dare we suggest that people read what we have to say and follow our careers if we are doom and gloom? This is not to say I'm not realistic. I understand a lot of the industry trends, but I'm excited by ebook trends and the ways in which publishers are trying to respond to technology becoming so pervasive in many of our lives. And I think they're going to step up to the plate. I think we're learning a lot from journalism. Um, and I think publishing is going to do its damnedest to not fall into that pit hole, that black hole, rather. Oh, I definitely read a lot and watch movies. And the worse the movie is, the more I love it. So I look to trash to recharge because then I can sort of have a clear space to really focus on the next project. A lot of times I do things with breath. Like she was breathless, her chest was missing, like empty of air. And so I have to, I'm actually editing my novel right now, and I'm like, my God, how much can one woman be breathless? And the answer is a lot. I've wanted to do like investigative journalism and include just sort of a thing where I could spend 3 months following a story and researching and talking to people. And because of my work schedule, I haven't had the time nor or the money to do that. But that's something I would love to do someday. Yeah, absolutely, very much so. I think that writing is salvation for many, many people, as is reading, and it certainly has been for me. So there is a spiritual dimension in that because I get so much out of writing, and I'm always grateful for it. And it's probably the holiest thing in my life. Frankly, these days, everyone's a writer. That's the delusion we give ourselves. Who is a writer? A writer is someone who loves words and loves arranging them over and over and over again.